Canes fans, what's up? Hey, yo, I'm gonna keep this brief, all right? Sorry, first of all, I apologize. I didn't upload my video, my Miami versus Virginia video. It was an emotional roller coaster in that game, and I didn't think it was that much of a priority because I got other stuff going on. I'm in the process right now. My house, I'm out here in GA, but my house in Georgia, I'm trying to. My house in Georgia, I'm trying to secure the mineral rights. Just pray for me, y'all. I think I might have some oil and gas on my little ranch out there in Texas. So, just pray for me. If it happens, God's grace is good. If it doesn't happen, God's grace is good. But, I just want to talk real quick about my Hurricanes, man. Look, I heard some guys on the blogs, man, a couple of blogs, and it's true. At what point, I'm always going to root for the Hurricanes, man. But at what point, how long do you have to continue to support a shitty product? Because it's a shitty product. It's just like the Dolphins. They haven't done nothing since Marino retired. And millions of dollars are being dumped into this, these programs or these coaches and stuff. Now, here's my issue. It's the little things. And like I said before, even when Nick Saban first started at Alabama, they didn't win a whole lot of games. And even in years when the Dolphins when Don Shula and Marino were coaching the Dolphins and they weren't going to the playoffs, or even those years where Bill Parcells was the coach of the Giants, or when he was coaching, they had down years of guys like Bill Cowher. What you noticed was, even when they weren't having the best seasons, what you noticed from their teams was the little things. They were still doing the little things right, like time management and fielding kickoffs and minimalizing unnecessary, undisciplined penalties like offsides and false starts and missing field goals and muffing punts. You didn't see, even in Nick Saban's first season, they only won 7 games, but you didn't see that. They still played clean, disciplined football. And that's what worries me. I'm trying to give Manny Diaz the benefit of the doubt, but that's what worries me, is that it's the little things, the little basics of discipline. And look, I've never coached a football game. I only played a little bit of optimist football, a little bit of high school football. I'm no expert. I'm just a regular fan who likes football, who likes really my teams. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to root for another team. I'm not that guy who necessarily loves the sport. I like my team. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, Alabama and Clemson might play each other again in the national championship game. Okay, but what did Miami do that season? That's the type of fan I am. Now, there's other teams, like with pro football, Miami hasn't done anything since Marino retired, but I'll watch Miami. And there's other teams that I'll watch, but I won't root for those other teams. Like, I get excited watching New Orleans play. You know what I mean? New Orleans is one of my favorite cities. I gain a couple of pounds every time I go to New Orleans. But you're not going to see me walking around with a New Orleans Saints coffee mug. My coffee mug says Miami Dolphins sitting on my desk at work. I got a Miami Dolphins coffee mug. You're not going to see, if the Miami Hurricanes aren't doing good during their football season, when the season's looking like a write-off, man, it's almost intuitive. I almost virtually lose all interest in the rest of college football because my team's not. Miami's not going to a bowl game this year? Oh, well, I don't care who's going to play in the Orange Bowl then. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I am. You can see I'm not a real fan, but that's me. I love the sport, but I love my teams that play the sport more. And at the end of the day, man, it's really not all that important unless you're wagering money on these teams. It's not going to determine whether or not you can pay your mortgage and put food in your refrigerator. But it is serious enough for me to make a video about it. That, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, it is just a sport. We haven't been, and maybe we need to really start being realistic and say, look, this is irrelevant. This team is irrelevant. This program has become irrelevant. They haven't been competitive since Brock Berlin was a quarterback, man. That's 14 years ago. Since 2004, we maybe had 1.5 seasons where we became a relevant program again. with 2.5 seasons. When Rick, those first 2 seasons that Rick coached Miami, you know what I mean? There was a feeling there that Miami was on the verge of being great again, and it was kind of like that same feeling back in 2003, when Miami was still competitive and finishing ranked in the top 10, and they were on the cusp of greatness. And the school hired Donna Shalala, and to her credit, she made Miami a better school academically, but she really didn't give a shit about the football program. And it reflected in the fact that, which baffles me to this day, how a room full of people with doctorates and bachelor's and master's degrees can decide that moving the team to play in a stadium 33 miles from campus would be more lucrative and overall better than just allowing the city of Miami to renovate the Orange Bowl for a $150 million renovation and allowing the team to play in a virtually new stadium 10 minutes from campus. Go figure. But that essentially destroyed the soul of the program, because they haven't been the same since. Ever since they left the Orange Bowl, they've never been the same program, man. And, you just kind of hope that there could be some resurgence. But what worries me, and I was hoping that with Rick, and because he helped modernize the program. But with Diaz, I'm thinking, maybe some guys are just good coordinators, because the little things, the things that guys like Shula and Parcells and Saban and even Les Miles and guys like Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, even a couple of seasons ago, there was a few seasons where they sucked. With Notre Dame, they sucked, where they were struggling to win 7 games a season. But what you notice out of those teams, the little things, man, they weren't getting stupid offsides, false start, the sloppy gameplay. It wasn't sloppy. They just didn't have the weapons in the cabinet, in the cupboard. They just didn't have the tools, man. They didn't have enough tools in the bag to overcome and beat another team's talent. You know what I mean? He just had to go through a couple of recruiting cycles. But the basics were there, and we're not really seeing that here with Diaz. And I understand, new coach, new scheme. But put this into perspective, guys. We lost to Georgia Tech 21-28. And I know I've been ranting. And I'm 7 minutes into the video, and I'm just talking about Georgia Tech now. We lost to Georgia Tech 21-28. Think about it this way. Georgia Tech's been running the double wishbone since Moses parted the Red Sea. This year, for the first time since time immemorial, they have a new coach, a new scheme. You know what I mean? They're not 3 running backs in the backfield, okay? And they came down to Miami on the road with a new coach and a new scheme and beat us in overtime, okay? So, at what point do you have to say, hey, you know what? This wasn't a good move. And people are going to say, oh, it's premature, too soon. If Diaz comes back next season and wins the Coastal, we're all going to be eating crow. But, even before the rain falls, there's some indication, man. Even before you take your boat, for all my peoples down there in South Florida, what's the old saying? Red Sea at night, sailors delight. Red Sea in the morning, sailors take warning. There's always some telltale signs that you can look for, red flags before, to indicate what the future is going to be. And just based on just the basics, the little things of being that it takes to start being a good football team, I'm not even seeing those yet. Guys, this defense isn't even as well conditioned as they've been the last couple of seasons. They're looking gassed by the end of the third quarter. It reminds me of D'Onofrio's defense. Okay? Think about that. Al Golden, man, if he'd hired a guy like, I don't know, maybe Manny Diaz to be his defensive coordinator, Al Golden might still have a job as a head coach. Because he knew how to coach an offense, him and Cooley. They knew how to put up points. If they had a defense like we had in 2016, 2017, he might have been able to win an ACC championship or 2. You know what I'm saying? Florida State wasn't all that great. They lucked out and got Jameis Winston. Clemson wasn't anybody. I don't know, guys. But This is the kind of stuff where, fans, especially guys that like me, that I try to make at least one game every season, even though I live out of state. This is where guys, they start beginning to tune out. Because how many seasons? It's been 15. Okay? More than that. That's not a short amount of time, guys. I've seen several other programs go through good and bad cycles since then. All right? I mean, I love the Hurricanes. Man, if you've been rooting for the Hurricanes for as long as I have, 30 plus years, more power to you, man. I feel your pain. And if you just started rooting for the Hurricanes recently, hey, man, let's hope things get better so you can experience some good times. For one, I feel like taking them turnover chains and touchdown rings and putting them things in the lockbox and say, this don't come out until you win a bowl game. This don't come back out until you get back to the conference championship. I don't know, guys. Tell me what you think. All right, Canes fans, that's my little 11-minute no-nothing rant. I'm just a regular guy, regular fan that's been rooting for this team for a long time, giving you my opinion. And, yeah, guys, have a good night. Peace.